You may ask, well, why would I pay for a podcasting platform when I can actually use Anchor FM? Hey guys, it's Richard Butler, and what do you think of the new studio that I have? Well, actually, I'm just practicing with a little green screen. Let's see how it works out, and let me know in the comments below. So today we're talking about Bcast. Now, Bcast is a podcasting platform, and you may ask, well, why would I pay for a podcasting platform when I can actually use Anchor FM? And I actually have used Anchor FM probably for the last 3 years. But I saw that Bcast had come back on AppSumo, and well, I thought, let's give it a try. So let's have a quick look at what exactly you're getting, and I'm just going to switch over and share my screen. And there I am in the corner of the video. So let's see what you're getting with Bcast. Now, if I just scroll down here, I see that you get lifetime access. We always love lifetime access when we're looking at AppSumo deals. It's GDPR compliant. You get unlimited users, unlimited episodes, unlimited listeners, one-click distribution, powerful analytics, sub-accounts, email integration, audio transcriptions. That's something that's really interesting. Custom podcast pages, growth analytics, dynamic content insertion, auto opt-in, and more. Now, you'll see a couple of things that us AppSumo people like, which is unlimited. And unlimited is good. But let's just see what else you're getting. Well, with a single license, you're getting one podcast. Now, what does that mean? That means one brand. Okay, so I have one that's called That's Life, and I can only use and promote that brand. And that's fine, because I don't want multiple podcasts, because you know what's going to happen? I'm just going to be all over the place, and I'm going to be trying to record too many podcasts, and I'll get none done. You do get 1 terabyte of bandwidth, which is approximately 50,000 downloads. Now, if I got 50,000 downloads a month, I would be over the moon. So I think that this is fine. Now, my podcasts are quite short. I usually have about a 5-10 minute podcast just with really succinct information. Check it out, and you'll see a link in the description below. One killer feature that I think makes Bcast really, really powerful is the transcription. So what this does is you can get your podcasts transcribed, and then you could use that on your website, or you could use it in your podcast description. But this is all fine and dandy. But what happens if you already have a podcast and you want to import that in from another source? Well, it's actually really easy. So let's just go over to my podcast screen here. You see it says your AppSumo plan includes 1 podcast and 1 terabyte of monthly transfer data. Perfect. This is the podcast I have. Now, what you would do is you would say import a podcast. And it's going to come up with an error here because I already have imported my podcast. But what you would do is you would go to wherever your podcast is currently hosted and copy that RSS feed. So let me just go to Anchor FM and we'll have a look. Now, here I am in Anchor.fm. You see my podcast is relatively small. I go to settings, I would go to distribution, and this is where I would actually copy the RSS feed, and that will import all of my previous podcasts into Bcast, and it does it very, very quickly. Now, there is a couple of things that you want to be careful of here, and the one here is the Apple podcast, and I'll talk about that because that's a separate beast there. So what I do is I would go in, I would import it, I then go into my podcast, it'll come up, and this is my new podcast URL. Now, let's just be a little bit careful here because there's a couple of things that I want to talk to you about with that. I go into episodes and I have all of my episodes here. Now, there is one thing that I noticed. If you go into a previous episode, let me just get this one, Beating Holiday Stress. I go in and I configure. And what it has done is it has put in a publish date, which is fine. It has the audio file, which is great. Now, I do need always, if I'm re-editing one of my imported podcasts, I need to put my name in here because it won't actually pick up my name. It will for new podcast episodes that I record or upload, but not in this one. Now, the summary and the show notes will always be the same. So if you do have a large podcast, you may need to go back or get somebody to go in and change the summary or show notes. Now, what I would do is for the show notes, I would actually just click on this button here, transcribe to text, and then I would paste the show notes in there. And I'll show you that I did that in one. Now, there is one thing that I don't like, and this is something that's not actually working here. They do advertise publish to YouTube, which means that what you can do is you can actually connect your YouTube channel, and then you select a playlist and you convert this into a video that you can have on YouTube. Now, the video is just your podcast cover and then you talking. Now, I did this and I got a notification from YouTube to say that my content had been disabled. So I thought I'd done something wrong or that there was music or something, but it just said, no, the content is not suitable. So it looks like what happened, because I did contact support, it looks like what has happened is that there is some problem with the API and how they communicate with YouTube, and YouTube is just stopping anything that is being converted here. So what I would do is I would forget about the publish to YouTube for the moment. To me, it's not a big biggie, because what we really want is podcast hosting and this transcribe feature and a couple of other things. But they have assured me that they are getting that fixed. Just let me go back to my episodes here. And if I go into this episode, what you will see that I've done is I've transcribed this into text and I put in the transcript of this episode. Okay, so that looks really, really nice now. That it gives a little bit of SEO value there. Now, if I go into Apple Podcasts, you're going to see how this actually looks in the podcast. So let me just show you that now. Okay, so here I am in my iPhone and I have this here. Okay, so you see that I have this misconceptions, and it's episode 74. And down here under the episode notes, you see the transcription there so that people could actually read it there. Now, I don't know if there's SEO value on Apple Podcasts for that, but I kind of like it there. Okay, so everything has worked perfectly there. There's been absolutely no problems, and it's picked up everything that I did changes to, because I actually changed the URL that's there under the workshops. So it's a very smooth experience. Now we're back here. You've done all of that. Well, let's see what else you can actually get here. Well, you have audio inserts. Now, this is quite a cool feature. I've not actually used this, but what you could do is, if you wanted to announce a workshop that you have coming up, you could record an audio insert and then you choose the episodes here, and you would then select the episodes and then you would insert the audio insert at the start, at the end, or have it at a particular date here. Now, as I say, I haven't played around with this because my aim was just to get this imported into Bcast, but this looks amazing, because then you can always make sure that any advertisements that you personally want to run to advertise something that you are promoting is actually there. Okay, so that's a really nice little feature. Under website, again, something I haven't done, you can actually go in and you can have custom domains here so that you could host this on your domain. I'm not too pushed about that. Social, you can put in your social links here. If you want to submit this to directories, you can actually do that. Now, this part I haven't experimented with yet. And they do say on Anchor FM, if you're going to another host, you can put the new podcast feed in here. Now, I haven't done it yet because I'm just asking Anchor FM to ensure that I don't lose any of the listings here, because I don't want to screw this up and then it creates two feeds. So I will update you on that as soon as I can. And then we have analytics. Now, I only have 37 downloads, which is a little bit sad, but that's okay. Now, it will then show you by episodes how many have been listened to or downloaded. When they say download, it also means listen to. You can see the downloads here. I guess the only thing here with Anchor FM is it gives you your estimated audience size, which is really nice. Now let me just click on the little cog icon here. And what we see is this is the RSS feed, which is possibly what I would copy into Anchor FM. I just have to check that. This is where I put in a description. This is where I change the image. I put in my keywords. I put in my languages. I need to change this to contact email. And then I have an email list here. So what is the email list? Well, let's just have a look at that in a second. But first, before we do that, let's have a look at the website that is automatically generated for you with a Bcast. And I do actually, again, I like this because it's a really simple website here. It has my social media icons, which I had put in on my settings. There is an area to subscribe. So if I just put in, I can just click on subscribe. And then I have all of my episodes here. So I can just go in here, and this is how I would see the episodes. Now, I don't mind that there's branding on it. That's fine for me, okay? And this is the summary, and this is the show notes. So I probably would need to go in and change those show notes. Now, let's go back and let's have a look here at engagement. And what I can do is I can set up email lists, and they will sign up for my email list, and then I would have to download those leads and put them into my actual email program. Now that's no problems, as long as you say to people, you're signing up for my list, and I will send you more details about whatever it may be. Now, you have the sign up form. You can't change that to your own email because it just defaults to this email list here. But what you can actually do is, and it's really, really useful, is they give you an email address, or you set an email address. And when I'm on a show, I can say, well, if you want more updates, just send a blank email to richard@bcast.email, and I'll add you to my mailing list so that I can tell you when I have new podcast episodes released. Rather than me having to say, send an email to richard@richardbutler.coach, I just have this one address. I could say, make sure that you subscribe. If you're listening to this on the web, you should see a little subscribe button. If you're not, just send me a blank email at richard@bcast.email. And then in here, it shows me all my leads here. Okay. Player call to action. That's where I can actually put in here. If I go back, I can actually put in a call to action here. And then I have my address here. Now, if you wanted, and I don't get involved in this, but you could actually have a Zapier webhook URL. I've never really used Zapier, so I'm not quite sure how to do that, okay? And I'm being honest with you. If I wanted to record a new podcast, I would just go here. I would say create a podcast. Now, if I want to record a podcast, let me go into podcasts here, and then I can go into episodes. Now, if I wanted to record a new episode, I would just go into episodes here, and I click on add an episode. So let's see the type of information that I can have. I can put in a title here. I can put in the published date. Okay, so I could actually publish this in the future. I can say if it's live or not. Okay, include the episode in the podcast feed on its published date. So this is really good if you have inspiration and you just want to record 5 podcasts in one day. You can have that set up for the next 5 days. I could put in a season number. I can put in the summary. I can choose the audio file. Within Anchor.fm, you can record directly from the actual browser. But again, that might give you the best sound quality. So maybe it's much better just to be able to choose your own audio file. I think it is, to be honest, because I always do that and then I edit it, etc. Or I could extract the audio from a YouTube video. So if I have a YouTube video that I've done the training of, I could actually just extract the audio from there and say convert audio. I put in the author, the keywords, the show notes. If it has explicit content, you then put that in there. And then you can choose an image for that particular episode. And that's it. It's that simple. So overall, I think Bcast, I'm happy with it so far. There's just a couple of things that I need to just figure out how to do, and I'll update you on that. But I think it is a very, very capable program. For $79, I love the transcription that I can do, so I can put in the show notes if I wish. And I love the audio inserts, because when I have something to offer, I can just put in those audio inserts very, very easily and take them out as well. So that's another great thing. Any cons on it? A small little learning curve, but not a lot. There's not a huge learning curve on it. And that's about it, guys. Of course, and I forgot to mention it, if you are new here, make sure that you like the channel, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you leave a comment and ask me any questions, because I always will answer your questions. And of course, make sure that you actually use my link, because that's your way of showing appreciation for the work that I do. I'll talk to you in the next video.